The Leadership Pipeline: How to Build the Leadership-Powered Company by Charan, Stephen Drotter, and James Noel. Book Review. Hello friends, today I am going to review the book, The Leadership Pipeline: How to Build the Leadership-Powered Company by Charan, Stephen Drotter, and James Noel. Rites of passage. 6 passages mark every leader's career. Managing other workers. After being in charge of only your own work, this is the first step to becoming a manager. In some ways, it is the most demanding passage. People who are doing a difficult job well do not usually want to change. They are often unwilling to put their work in the hands of others, and simply manage those other people. Therefore, these new managers may have the title of manager without exemplifying management behavior. A manager's work includes planning, matching people to jobs, giving assignments, cheerleading, encouraging, helping, and evaluating. Many new managers want to continue to spend time doing their old jobs. They must learn to reallocate their time. Managing other managers. This transition requires developing new ways of communicating. Communications with workers now pass through other managers. Managing a function. When a person moves into functional management, he or she will manage some work that is unfamiliar and will report to multifunctional managers. This passage requires unaccustomed breadth of focus. Managing a business. This passage leads to freedom and autonomy, but also to new responsibilities. Most notably, the business manager must balance and harmonize numerous functions and work with a more varied set of people. The business manager thinks in terms of making a particular business succeed and getting credit for the success. This manager faces pressure to meet short-term financial goals while simultaneously thinking in terms of 3 to 5 year plans. One common mistake during this passage is failing to respect staff functions. Managing a group of businesses. The group manager must help make other people's businesses succeed and see that they get credit. This can be a big adjustment, especially for people who cherish the limelight. It requires developing skills at allocating capital, developing other managers, thinking of the group as a portfolio, and making hard decisions about goals and capabilities. Managing an enterprise. Previous passages required and developed skills. This passage requires values. The leader of an enterprise must value the long term, but also must institute the operating machinery necessary for short-term performance. A common organizational mindset is to view jobs as work to be done, and not as developmental assignments. This transition requires being attuned to the values of constituencies outside the corporation, such as regulators, the press, activist groups, and the public. The leader must assemble and coordinate a team of excellent subordinates who probably want his or her job. This requires the subtlety of a Renaissance prince. The skills people should learn at this first leadership passage include planning work, filling jobs, assigning work, motivating, coaching, and measuring the work of others. This model of passages and transitions applies to large corporations. With slight adjustments, it is also relevant to small companies. If you replace the description, managing other workers, with owner, in the first passage, the nature of the transition is almost identical. From self-management to other management. The hardest part of this transition is the need to work through others to get things accomplished. It's a bit like those carnival games where you manipulate a toy crane to pick up prizes inside a glass case. It would be easier to use your hands, but that's not the game. Knowledge about each passage helps reveal hidden leadership problems at every organizational layer. This knowledge also provides a way to solve these problems. New managers often have a hard time letting go. They've developed a lot of expertise, and they want people to know how good they were at their old jobs. They tend to overwhelm subordinates, and may show off by solving problems instead of letting the subordinates solve them, and learn by so doing. Goals and measurements must be put in place that create accountability for new managerial behaviors. The best first-time managers are good at 3 things. Figuring out what needs to be done, discuss expectations up and down the hierarchy, make plans, assign work to the right people and let them do it. Knowing about subordinates' activities, cultivate an understanding but do not get in the way, encourage and advise, get resources, solve problems and share data. Forming social networks build trust with bosses, peers, subordinates, and supporters. Listening, as opposed to talking without listening, is a hallmark of a mature leader, and it's one that requires patience, empathy, and approachability. To help first-time managers through the initial passage, organizations should 1. Make it clear what new skills, attitudes, time allocation, and values new managers will be required to have and offer them the training they need to adapt. 2. Keep abreast of the new manager's performance. 3. Watch interaction with subordinates to assess his or her skills and behaviors. 4. Use 360-degree evaluations to find out how others view the new manager. 5. Direct reports can help. 5. Ask new managers about their performance. 6. Note any gap between managers and subordinates' reports. 7. Intervene. Coaching can be very helpful, especially with time management. 8. Many new managers still spend time trying to do their former jobs. 9. The boss must make it clear that improvement looms large on the new manager's performance evaluation. To manage managers. The new manager of managers may lack skill at core leadership functions, including 1. Delegation. Those who manage managers often feel they should have more decision-making authority than they had when they were managing workers. 1. In fact, they have less. 2. They are now 2 hands removed from the work itself. 3. The temptation is to hog authority, centralize, and then complain about inept subordinates. 4. Even those who are willing to delegate make delegation errors and fail to establish controls. 5. Performance management. The new manager of managers may need to address communications issues like how to give feedback, coaching, and clear directions. 6. Team building. Some new managers of managers work well with subordinates on an individual basis, but can't forge them into an effective team. 7. Focus. The new manager may be too focused on the work and not focused at all on the broader cultural or strategic needs of the managers he or she directs. 8. Hiring. The most common failure is hiring someone like yourself, instead of matching diverse people to diverse situations. Many top executives look back at their experiences as heads of businesses as the most enjoyable in their careers. To avoid a clogged leadership pipeline at this passage, the organization must clarify how and why the new job of managing managers differs from the old one of managing workers. The organization must also measure and evaluate the new manager of managers in coaching, efficiency and quality improvement, teamwork, and the number of subordinates promoted or moved horizontally to expand their skills. To manage a function. At this level, managers must become more strategic and holistic. They must think long-term and consider strategic issues, not just operational problems. They need to value work they've never done. Successful CEOs exhibit sound judgment on people matters and execute well deep into the organization. To identify people having trouble with this passage, look for these problems. 1. Operational mindset. This is evident in short-term thinking, lack of understanding of the overall business, and ignorance of wider corporate needs and programs. 2. Tunnel vision prevents the new functional manager from effectively steering unfamiliar work. 2. This is evident in a bias for the familiar and a loss of good people. 3. Immaturity. This problem leads to being excessively controlling, too hands-on. 3. Immature managers don't trust their subordinates and are unable to maintain control over delegated work. Most leaders think about their work in terms of goals and tasks. As important as these factors are, they don't encompass the totality of a leader's role. People, including managers, learn by making mistakes. The organization's challenge is to convert mistakes into learning experiences that do not excessively damage the company. New functional managers need the preparation of serving on teams, task forces, and committees. Classroom training may help, but on-the-job training is irreplaceable. Functional managers should meet with their peers for input and save time for strategizing. To manage a business. One of the biggest shocks of this passage is the public fishbowl effect. People are watching. The press is watching. The job is much more complex, with disparate factors to consider, than anything at the functional level, and it requires a highly strategic, global perspective. Symptoms of a stumbling new business manager include dull communications, problems keeping the team united and on message, time and micromanagement issues, failure to give proper priority to soft culture and tunnel vision that conceals the real business drivers. Poorly developed leaders invariably impede the development of their subordinates by doing their work for them, modeling the wrong values, and so on. At this level, learning must be self-directed and self-motivated. The alignment triangle can help. This simple mnemonic helps focus attention on issues of strategic direction, organizational competence, and collective competence. Perhaps the two most important skills for this manager are the ability to listen and the ability to say, "I don't know." To manage a group. At many companies, the function of a group manager is, in truth, simply to cut down on the number of people reporting to the chief executive. That said, the passage requires a number of the skills enumerated above. Although there are many reasons for failure and some can't be completely avoided, such as abrupt changes in consumer preferences, a significant percentage of them can be prevented or dealt with effectively. 3 very revealing questions to ask about new group managers include: can they make investment decisions based on likely business outcomes? Can they help their direct reports grow into leaders? Can they think of businesses as a portfolio? To lead an enterprise. The new chief executive confronts 5 challenges: setting direction, forming mission, values and culture, delivering predictable financial performance, managing globally, executing strategy better than the competition. One company that is establishing itself as a leadership pipeline powerhouse in the new economy is hotel giant Marriott International. When a CEO is in trouble, watch for these signs. 1. Ignorance of what the firm does and how, as often demonstrated by financial losses. 2. Mr. Outside syndrome, at the expense of inside the company relationships. 3. Ignoring the soft side. 4. The board keeps asking hard questions and doesn't get answers. Part of helping people do their work involves paying attention. To keep the leadership pipeline flowing smoothly, companies must make roles clear and create performance standards at each level. Inappropriate performance must be corrected. A functioning leadership pipeline is one of the best tools for succession planning. Some companies do an outstanding job of developing leadership, Marriott among them. Few companies have as comprehensive an approach as Marriott. The anchor of its system is the Leadership Talent Development Inventory, an analytical tool that keeps the company informed of its leadership resources at each level. Takeaways. 1. There aren't enough leaders to meet the demand for leadership. 2. Companies can develop future leaders by careful planning and execution. 3. Executives typically pass through 6 stages of career growth. Each stage can help them develop leadership talents. 4. The stages begin with managing other workers and proceed to managing managers, functions, a business, a group of businesses, and, finally, an enterprise. 5. Leadership requires developing new skills and a new attitude toward time use. 6. Leadership requires building new attitudes about what matters at work. 7. To develop a leadership pipeline, organizations need to make a real commitment. 8. Developing a leadership pipeline requires new behavior at the top levels of the organization, and down the line. 9. Marriott has an exemplary leadership pipeline. 10. The greatest benefit of a leadership pipeline comes when organizations need to build or reconfigure themselves. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe this channel for more videos.